Good morning. It is Monday, March the 17th of 2025. It is St. Patrick's Day. Currently in downtown Wausau at our 98.9 WXCO studios. Overcast skies, temperature of 30 degrees. I am Chad Holmes. It is the start of a new week. Chad Holmes Show. 98.9 WXCO. Online at WXCO.FM. Mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO and on the Civic Media app. Well, another very pleasant start here this morning. A normal, I think, start here in this part of March, middle part of March, getting closer and closer to real spring-like weather. But as we tend to see during this time of year, potential of some significant snow as we get to the middle part of the work week. Coming up in just a few minutes at 8:21, we will be joined by meteorologist Brittney Merlot. Tell us about what we can expect starting overnight, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, throughout the day on Wednesday, and then into Wednesday night. Looks like some significant snow on the way, and we will find out exactly how much we should be looking for, at least at this point. Things can always change between now and then, but Brittney Merlot will have all the information that we need coming up at 8:21. Also coming up at the end of the program, we will have our daily history lesson. We will talk about some of the famous events that have occurred on St. Patrick's Day. Also, some of the celebrity birthdays, those folks that celebrate their birthdays on St. Patrick's Day. Some events and days that are being acknowledged today other than St. Patrick's Day. And then, of course, we will have our number for the day quiz with Ian Welsh coming up at the end of the program. And whether or not it has anything to do with St. Patrick's Day, I don't know yet. I have not looked that far ahead. So we'll wait and see on that one. But we will have that start off another new work week as well. So that's all coming up here in the next couple of hours on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO and on the Civic Media app. And also you can join us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com, go to the 98.9 WXCO channel and be able to see our video stream. And you'll be able to see that I did wear green today. I actually remembered. Normally, I don't remember that because normally in the morning, I'm barely thinking when I first start off my day. But I remembered, well, I got to wear some green today. So I did that. Also, if there are things on your mind, if there's something going on that you want to talk about, if there's something that you would like us to discuss as well, we would love to hear from you, either through a text or a call. The number is the same, 715-382-9297. That's 715-382-9297 to be able to join us here this morning. That's a call or text. Either one works. So if you want to text us at that number, feel free. If you want to call us at that number, absolutely. Also, you can use your Civic Media app as well. Go to the Civic Media app, open up the fourth one down, 98.9 WXCO. There's a button to call us. There's a button to text us. In fact, there's a button to email. There's a button to go to our website. There's a button to listen live. There are a lot of buttons there. But the first thing you do is go to your app store, search Civic Media, download the free Civic Media app, then open up the 98.9 one, because all of the Civic Media radio stations are part of that app. So, again, get ready. Get involved. It's a new work week. We're a couple of weeks away, 15 days away from Election Day. So lots to talk about during the course of the show. I want to kind of touch a little bit on local issues that we should be thinking about. You hear a lot about the state Supreme Court race. You hear a lot about the leadership of the state Department of Public Instruction, but there is a Weston Village President race on the ballot. We got a Wausau School District referendum on the ballot. So there's other issues that we need to be thinking about, and we're going to touch on that as we continue on this program as well. So again, lots to talk about. We want your voice to be heard. So join us, 715-382-9297, 715-382-9297 to be part of the program, and we want your voice to be heard. Another person whose voice is often heard on this program is our in-studio engineer and producer, Ian Welsh. Ian, good morning.
Top of the morning to you. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
I should not be surprised that you have that in your bag of tricks, because being somebody on the stage, you have to use certain dialects during...
Being an actor, I am a master of accents. Not perfect, but I will attempt to do my best.
What dialects have you used during the course of your acting career? How many have you used? I hated them because I actually have to do a British accent.
Can be a little tricky.
I was not one that was fun. I'd say I'm never doing that ever again. If there's a dialect, you'll never see me doing it. But we obviously saw you have a talent for the Irish. You could be the Lucky Charms spokesperson after what you just did there. But what else have you used in your story career?
I have had to use a Brooklyn accent, like New York. When I was in Newsies, I had to be I have a Brooklyn accent for that one. That was a fun one. I've had to do a British accent for quite a few shows, actually. I've done a couple of Western accents. I do an Italian accent sometimes. Sometimes I do a Spanish accent as well. I do have quite the a variety. I can't do like every accent, but my skill set is pretty wide.
Very good.
I do a French accent, and I think those are the main ones I've used in like recent shows. But the nice thing is that every show I get to use an accent, I get more practice in doing it.
Have you ever had green beer?
Ooh,
I've never had.
Not much of a beer.
I'm a
drinker, but
yeah.
No, I've never had a beer on St. Patrick's Day.
In fact, I think, in the state of Wisconsin, people, obviously beer has been very important in terms of, one of the cities known for its brewing is Milwaukee. And of course, and even just Chippewa Falls for many years with Leinenkugels as well. But in my entire life, I have not had the equivalent of one can of beer because I've only had beer twice in my life. And they were both as the drinks. And first time was, and I shouldn't say this, but back in the day, there was a little event. I went to Everest, and one Friday night they played a football game up in Rhinelander, and then after the game there's a little get together in the woods, and there's
interesting,
and there was a little beer there, and I took a sip, and it was terrible. I hated it. So it's like it's like no, I'm never gonna, I'm not drinking that. And then many years later, I was working in Stevens Point, and we had a partnership. The radio station in Stevens Point had a partnership with Point Beer. And we have what were called backyard barbecues. A few people from the radio station. And then, people would sign up and with Point Beer in the radio station and win a backyard barbecue. And we'd have to go over there and have the little event and, do a remote and be part of the party. And I was part of one of those, being from the radio station, and thought, well, it's been many, many years. Maybe I was missing something. And I took a sip of a Point Beer. Terrible. So I was like, and I haven't had a beer since then. It's like, that was like 30 years ago. And it's like, nope, not going to. Actually, it was probably 25 years ago. But no, I've
only tried a beer once, and I couldn't.
It just doesn't taste good to me.
Swallow it.
I know. It's like, yeah. And I know many people feel differently. And good for them.
It just depends on the type of taste buds.
I know.
Yeah,
it's like
not for everybody.
Exactly right. But I just like, And I sometimes wonder, it's like, people that have the first time they try that, it's like, oh, this is great. And then all of a sudden they drink it all the time. No, it's like I almost feel lucky that did not fall for beer that first time. So I've never had the green beer, but I wonder, it's like, if I look at a green beer and I think, man, I wouldn't want to have a green 7 Up where it's like, it's like, what's going on here? It's like, but for folks that do celebrate, go for it.
That'd probably be the closest thing I have to a green drink today is either 7 Up or the Starry stuff, like a green soda, but not the green beer.
But no, it's one of my favorite St. Patrick Day pieces of media is during The Fugitive. You ever seen The Fugitive movie?
Oh,
when they basically
classic movie with Harrison Ford.
Yeah, when he tries to get
through the St. Patrick's Day parade.
Yeah, and they had tries to get lost in the St. Patrick's Day parade in Chicago, and then they have that river that goes right in the middle of Chicago, which they always make green. So I'm assuming down in Chicago today that they have the river that is green. But basically, and I've read stories about that scene, is that they basically did it right in the midst of the real parade. They didn't tell people. They just happened to do it. All those people that were part of the parade in The Fugitive with Harrison Ford and Tommy Lee Jones.
Movie magic.
And they decided, well, we're just going to have them jump in the middle of the parade. We're going to have the cameras and film it and make it as real as possible. So that's exactly what they did. And it was a scene that worked really great. And
it really did.
And it was, it's like, wow, it's like instead of trying to get together a bunch of extras and a bunch of actors, no, they just did it right in the middle, and it was natural, and it was very, very cool indeed. So that's one of my favorite St. Patrick's Day adjacent little pieces of trivia. So.
Boy, they don't make movies like that anymore.
No.
I tell you though, the action movies of the 90s are my favorite, because you had The Fugitive, you had Air Force One with Harrison Ford. I mean, Harrison Ford in the 90s was like the big
he went go-to,
star. And just like Bruce Willis was in the Die Hard movies.
Yeah, Bruce Willis did a lot in that era as well. And of course, there was the Schwarzenegger and other movies as well during that era as well. So,
yeah, Schwarzenegger was definitely the popular action hero in the 90s too.
And then he became a governor. He stepped away for a while.
He actually did a pretty good job with that.
8:18 is the time. Again, pleasant start here on this St. Patrick's Day morning in downtown Wausau. Temperature of 30 degrees, but little dose of winter, about 48 hours away, maybe even a little less than that. So we'll find out all about that and a whole bunch more. Brittney Merlot, our meteorologist, coming up next here on 98.9 WXCO.
Good morning, Brittney.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Patrick's Day. Woohoo. Do you celebrate? Do you do anything? Eat corned beef and cabbage?
Well, I don't celebrate as much as most people in Wisconsin do. I'm not really much of a beer drinker, but I've always been fascinated with the green beer, specifically what it tastes like. Because I don't know if it's like a certain flavor or something, but at least it's fun to look at.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Even though it's St. Patrick's Day, it's not really very green out there. It's still very yellow.
I know, right? So true.
How was your weekend?
It was pretty good. I went over towards like Minneapolis, St. Paul area, and I went to Fort Snelling and hiked all of that and saw the Mississippi and the confluence of the Minnesota River. So it was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah. How about you?
Pretty quiet.
That's good.
Step right up and don't be shy, because you will not believe your eyes. She's right here behind the glass. You're gonna like her, because she's got class.
And welcome back, Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app, plus on YouTube, youtube.com. Go to the 98.9 WXCO channel, and you can be part of the show again at 715-382-9297. Again, you can call or text that number, 715-382-9297. And right now, as we do every morning at 8:21, we get an opportunity to find out about the weather, and it's a beautiful start. Again, very, very nice start. A little bit of sunshine poking through right now, some cloud cover, but a very normal type of morning for this time of year, about 30 degrees here in downtown Wausau, but that may be changing. But to talk a little bit about the weather, we're joined by meteorologist Brittney Merlot. Brittney, good morning.
Good morning and happy St. Patrick's Day.
Absolutely. You're not going to do it in an Irish accent? I'm not even going to try.
So bad with accents. Like
Ian did it for us earlier. It's like, it's like
Did
he
he?
jumped right in there. Yep, he came through. Give us a
I've
little.
gotten pretty good at an Irish accent.
Oh, I like it.
So there's the
Shamrock
talent.
is in my favor.
There's the talent on this program. It's across the way
Yes.
on the other side of the glass. But over the weekend, yesterday was a very spring-like day. I mean, for this time of year, it's chilly, but it was back to
Right.
closer to normal. And it felt actually nice out there. I don't know why. It just had that. It was refreshing yesterday, and it kind of felt
was.
this way this morning as well.
Yes, it absolutely did. I mean, after those, well, first of all, it was crazy to have some thunderstorms on Friday roll through. Nothing got too crazy here for us, thank goodness. Down south, that was a tornado outbreak, but we got out of that. We cooled things down. Those winds were vicious, though. I was outside Saturday night, freezing as those winds are whipping at about 40, 50 miles per hour. And then we got a little bit warmer yesterday with the sun out. Like you said, it was crisp, it was refreshing, it was perfect. I was out there hiking on the muddy trails, but enjoying the sunshine. And that's what we have today. A little bit warmer, more comfortable. And actually, this morning we were warmer than Milwaukee area. It was kind of backwards. They were in the teens this morning while we were sitting in the 30s. So just a little smile on your face for that, to finally be warmer than the Milwaukee area. And that's what we did today. It will be breezy though. We've got winds pulling out of the south today, about 30 to 40 miles per hour. So another breezy, windy one. The sun will stay out, mixed with a few clouds at times, and highs will make it to the mid-50s today. But with those winds and the sun and the warmth, that means a high fire danger. And we've seen about 50 wildfires across the state in just the past week. So no burning. Watch where you toss that cigarette butt, and watch out for the sparks from your equipment too today.
And as we get to what I was looking at, how many hours? Maybe 40 hours, 38 hours. Things are going to get interesting.
Yes.
Very interesting. But this time of year, you always expect that mid-March dumper when it comes to snow. And I think we're going to get one coming up starting late Tuesday night into Wednesday, right?
Yes, we are. So we've been tracking this system. It's a big one, and it's of course going to bring some crazy winds with it. It's going to pull in a little bit of warmth out ahead before it slams us with the cold. So what's going to be happening is I'm really thinking rain rolls in late tomorrow night. It's going to be raining through the overnight because highs tomorrow we hit the low 50s. So more and more clouds throughout the day, rain at night. Then Wednesday, it looks like in the afternoon it wants to mix in with some freezing rain, sleet, and then flips to all snow by late Wednesday afternoon into the evening, and then starts to wind down through the overnight. Now, right now, accumulations, I'm going to say at least expect 2 to 5 inches, but, there is a winter storm watch out, and it's right up to us. It's sitting there, and it's bound to be extended into Marathon County, and I do think that we're going to be in the track of some of the hardest hitting snowfall. Now, it could stay a little bit northwest of us, and if it does, then that means we're going to definitely get the 2 to 5, but there is a chance for 6 inches to potentially 10 inches. That's what this system is going to be packing. They're going to be getting it. But again, the system keeps shifting anywhere between northwest Wisconsin to us, to northwest Wisconsin to us. So we're right there.
And of course, the closer you get, the more accurate the forecasting gets. So I imagine you're going to keep a close eye on this. And by tomorrow morning, hopefully have a better feel for exactly. I hope it's closer to 3 inches and little less close to 10 inches before all is said and done. Because as you were saying, I think earlier, it's going to be that heavy kind of snow.
Yes, it's going to be a heavy, wet, slushy type. Plus, the winds are going to be gusting around, and it's just going to be hard to see. So, whiteout conditions while it's snowing. Now, the good thing is it'll be, later in the afternoon, hopefully, when these are hitting. But rush hour, Wednesday, definitely possible on the way home.
All right. Well, what are the details here as we start off another new work week?
All right, warming things up. Mid-50s today, breezy, partly sunny, and then tomorrow we'll slide to the low 50s. It'll still be breezy. That rain rolls in overnight, flips to a wintry mix tomorrow afternoon, and then to all snow tomorrow evening. Wednesday evening and into the night. Thursday, we're looking at a ton of sunshine, highs in the upper 30s, and then Friday will be in the upper 40s with a lot more sunshine too. It's a good weekend ahead, we'll put it that way.
Very good. All right. Well, thanks again for the info. I know we'll be keeping a close eye on that potential storm midweek, but we'll talk to you all about that and more tomorrow morning.
Sounds good. Have a great day.
St. Patrick's Day.
You too.
That is our meteorologist, Brittney Merlot, right now in downtown Wausau, here at the corner of Washington Street and North 3rd Street downtown. A little bit of sun is peeking through. Otherwise, overcast skies, temperature of 30 degrees. Winds are out of the southeast at 10 miles per hour, so the wind chill factor is 21. Dew point is 14. Relative humidity of 51%. Barometer at 29.98 inches and a visibility of 10 miles. Coming up, we're going to talk a little bit about the Wausau School referendum. Give you a little information. Again, talk a little bit about what you'll be voting on coming up on April the 1st, why it's happening as well. So going to discuss that as we continue. Start of a new work week, 17th day of March, St. Patrick's Day. Boy, first 2.5 months of this year just flying right on by. Already
You certainly are.
getting closer and closer to real springtime weather as well. So again, a lot to look forward to with Ian Welsh. I'm Chad Holmes. Information coming up next. Time is 8:29. Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO.
You're in the depths. It's like the feeling at the end of the page when you realize you don't know what you just read. What the words for? No one listens anymore. What the words for? No one listens. What the words for? No one realizes there's no use talking at all.
And welcome back to at Home Show 98.9 WXCO. Online at WXCO.FM. Mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO and on the Civic Media app. Call or text at 715-382-9297. That's 715-382-9297. Coming up here in just a moment, we'll talk a bit about the school district referendum that folks in Wausau will be voting on in 15 days on the 1st of April. Just wanted to mention, since we're going to talk about the Wausau School District, congratulations to the Wausau East High School boys basketball team.
Yeah, my dad was telling me about that last night. Congratulations to them.
Yep, they are heading to the state tournament down in Madison. They'll be playing at the Kohl Center on late Friday afternoon. Lumberjacks were able to earn a sectional championship on Saturday night. So with a 20-7 record, Wausau East heading to the state semifinals in Division II against Wauwatosa West. East is the number 3 seed in the state tournament. Wauwatosa West is the number 2 seed. The other 2 teams in the Division II state tournament, number 1 seeded Racine Park, who is 26-2, and number 4 seeded Cedarburg, who is 20-8. Racine Park and Cedarburg will tip off at 1:35 on Friday afternoon. And then following game number 1, it will be Wausau East and Wauwatosa West, approximately 3:30 or so. So we'll have more on sports and talk about the high school girls state tournament and boys state tournament. Badgers and Marquette find out their NCAA pairings as well. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the program, but just wanted to say again, I know a lot of folks, and I know your dad's been associated with Wausau East for a long time. A lot of the folks on the east side very, very excited about what's going on.
He's also getting ready to get the golf team back at it too.
That's right.
In a couple of weeks, the weather should be nicer, and then the golf team will start their practicing.
Yeah, I played golf at DC Everest back in the day, and early in the year there'd be a lot of indoor stuff, which is not great for golf.
No.
But you do the basics, try to get ready, and then when the weather gets good and the courses dry out, you're able to get outside and actually.
Golf is very dependent on the weather.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Doesn't matter if it's inside or outside, because you can't really play golf outside.
Exactly right. So a lot to look forward to as we get into the warmer weather.
Indeed.
Coming up on Tuesday, April the 1st, it is a referendum here in the city of Wausau. April 1st, the community, Wausau School District folks will be voting on a proposed 5-year non-recurring operational referendum. If approved, the Wausau School District will be able to raise its revenue limit by $8 billion per year through the 2029-2030 school year. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this because we're about 2 weeks away before the vote where, again, I actually was trying to get the school board president, Jim Boucher, on here today or tomorrow, but him and his wife are actually away right now, and we'll be back before the vote, and we'll get him on right before the vote and be able to talk more specifically in terms of what is on the ballot when it comes to this vote for Wausau School District residents. But right now, again, it's not just the Wausau School District. There are school districts all around the state that are being forced to go to their voters and ask basically for the basics. This is not a case of where the Wausau School District or many other school districts are looking for you'd call what's the word here, the when it's not really the necessities, it's the what I think getting the point across, it's I'm a professional at this.
It's not the essentials, it's the
luxuries.
That's
luxuries. Yeah, they're not looking for the luxuries here. They're looking for the essentials, basically, to be able to do things and keep the doors open. In fact, according to the Wausau School District and their website, in terms of talking about the issues behind the reasons for this vote, according to the school district, based on conservative assumptions, the district is projecting a deficit of $3.7 million for the 2025-2026 school year, and says this takes into account the state level funding recently granted to public school districts as part of the Wisconsin 2023 through 2025 state biennial budget. And one of the aspects I gotta say, because when I've talked to Jim Boucher a number of times, and one of the things I actually asked him the last time around was talking about what the responsibility of the state in these matters, because the state, in terms of trying to keep up with the funding for these schools over the past 15, 20 years, have fallen behind. And I asked him, I said, what is the responsibility here? What is the responsibility of folks down in Madison? And then what are the responsibilities of folks at the individual school district level? And he didn't really, I thought, come across and say exactly, because I do think that, I think Jim is a little bit more conservative. And I know, in fact, he's a much more conservative than I am. And I don't think he wanted to come out and fully criticize maybe the Republican majorities down in Madison. But this has a lot to do because going back to the Scott Walker gubernatorial administration, we've just fallen behind and behind and behind. And when you fall behind, it's hard to catch up. I mean, the gap just gets bigger and bigger and bigger every 2 years when the budget does not catch up. We saw a step forward 2 years ago in the budget process, and now the next budget process is underway, but we're still way, way behind. Again, rising expenses, outdated and inequitable state school funding formula, and a lack of state aid to public schools in recent years, according to the district. And basically, again, just keep falling further and further behind, and that leads to situations like this where the Wausau School District needs to ask their voters for help here. They need help in order to do some of the basics. Yeah. And according to the district, in a chart they put out, general school district revenues per pupil lag inflation by more than $3,300 since 2009. And that basically goes back to when, Scott Walker was first elected in 2010, and the gap has started growing almost immediately. And it's just been way, way behind over the last 15 years or so.
It has.
And the school is often asked, well, what are you doing in order to try to close its budget gap? And they actually list some of the things. And one of the things that they list as one of the items that they've done over the last number of years in order to close this budget gap is reducing more than 25 full-time equivalent positions in 2024. That saddens me, because losing staff is not a good thing. In a sense, and I know that they're not listing this as a good thing. They're listing it as one of the things that they have done in order to try to make the most of their existing funds and to make sure that they don't have to cut in some other areas. But again, 25 full-time equivalent positions let go in 2024. That's not good news. The fact that you're forced to cut that much is actually something that says, doggone it, we are so far behind in the funding of our public schools right now that we're forced to cut 25 full-time positions. That's not good. But again, when you're forced to work within a budget, you have to sometimes make very difficult and sometimes very painful decisions. And the district is saying that, hey, we have done that. We are doing that. We're not just, mouthing the idea that we have to make tough decisions. They're actually making tough decisions. So they've reduced those full-time positions. They've also implemented salary increases below the consumer price index. They've kept budgets static for things like buildings, departments, and capital maintenances. They've reduced the overall footprint by closing those 4 elementary schools. Of course, we remember talking about that discussion and decision very recently, and also repurposing one. So again, it's a situation where they've done things to try and use the money to their best available decision-making processes, but in the end, there's still a shortfall. And they decided that the best way in order to continue, and one of the aspects, because when you talk about communities trying to grow, and one of the things that especially parents of young children when they're making a decision on maybe where to live or maybe on a job offer, because often some talented people have job offers in different communities. And it's not just the job. Often the jobs can be similar in terms of benefits and pay and everything else, challenges within a job. Then it comes down to, where do you want to live? And one of the biggest factors in terms of where people want to live, especially younger families, are the schools. And if the schools are not up to snuff, if they're not up to standards that a lot of these folks believe they should be, they're going to live somewhere else. And then you lose that tax base. You lose the people. When you have more people come in, you got a bigger tax base. So again, it's one of those situations where you have to make sure that the schools are at the highest level possible, or else you're going to start losing. And then now in this era, especially, there's so much choice involved as well when it comes to the schools, that you cannot afford to cut off your arm and then cut off your other arm and then cut off your leg, and all of a sudden you're left with basically not much else. So what the district is going to do here is, for a 5-year span. Again, it's not going to be recurring beyond the years on this ballot measure. So 5-year operational referendum. This is operational. And it's different than what the voters approved just a few years ago. Back in April of 2022, the voters approved a $119.8 million capital referendum to fund key facility improvements. And of course, the projects included remodeling and additions at the 2 middle and 2 high school buildings, construction of additions at Riverview, South Mountain, and Statine elementary schools, and the construction of a new school forest environmental learning center. And again, that is different than an operational referendum. School boards can ask voters to approve 2 types of referendums: the operational referendum or a capital or bond referendum. The operational referendum is used to fund the ongoing day-to-day expenses of running a school district. This can include salaries and benefits for teachers and staff, utilities, classroom supplies, transportation, and other operating costs. And that is the proposed measure that you'll be voting on coming up in 15 days. The capital referendum is used to fund major building projects and improvements. They can include the construction of new school buildings, renovations or additions to existing facilities, equipment expenditures, purchasing land, and the like. And that's what the voters approved back in 2022. But basically here is, I would suggest, folks, in the next 2 weeks, because this is vital. This is a big decision for the people of Wausau.
Yes, it is.
And for the school district itself. So in the next 2 weeks, go to wausauschools.org. They got a question and answer section on in there where they talk about this referendum. Get the information so you make a good decision, whether or not you think this is something that's worthwhile or not worthwhile. Again, based on my reading of the facts, I do think it's something that is worthwhile. I do think that the district has done a lot in terms of trying to make every dollar go as far as it possibly can. And this is a case where if you don't get this additional operating capital, there's going to lead to some very, very more difficult decisions that do hurt the everyday educational experience of the kids throughout the Wausau School District. So again, check out wausauschools.org/referendum-2025, or just go to wausauschools.org, and then you'll be able to get to the additional Q&A and find out more as well.
Yeah.
The time is 8:49. Sun is shining. Seeing a little bit more blue skies as well. Temperature in the low 30s. We'll, of course, keep an eye on the weather with that significant snow. Not sure how much. I'm hoping it's closer to 3 inches,
Yeah,
but
me
Brittney
too.
says it could be upwards towards double digits as well. So, again, we'll keep a close eye on that. We're going to take a very quick time out. Be back in 2 minutes here on 98.9 WXCO.
ringing in my head that keeps me awake at night. Sometimes I don't know what is right. Today I saw a car crush my little dog under its wheel. It did not even stop, it just sped off and out of sight. Sometimes I just feel so afraid, but I know that no one else has it made. So if I just believe in myself, I won't need no help from nobody else, and I can make it out. Everything will be okay.
And welcome back, Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. Also, again, at YouTube.com. Video stream you can find on the 98.9 WXCO channel. So, again, plenty of ways to join us. And if you have not already downloaded the Civic Media app, what are you waiting for? It is free. Great piece of technology. Just go to your app store, search out Civic Media, download the app, and then you'll have every station on the Civic Media radio network at the touch of a finger. And the fourth one down is 98.9 WXCO. I have figured out, because coming up in 1 hour's time will be our daily history lesson, and it will also include at the very end of the show the number for the day quiz. But I have found our number for the day. It is not
a topic.
It's well, it's going to be involving St. Patrick's Day. I thought we should have something that involves St. Patrick's Day, so we will have that be our number for the day, because the number for the day that was sent was not part of St. Patrick's Day. And I thought we can't have that. We got
the spirit of the season. We want to keep with the St. Patrick's Day.
You got your Irish brogue and everything else, and so we will do that coming up in just about an hour's time. But I thought here for a few moments before we wrap up hour number one to have a little fun here with St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, nice.
There is a way you can figure out what your leprechaun name is.
Oh.
So if you were a leprechaun,
quizzes like that.
So you what is your leprechaun name? So I am going to ask you first of all for the last letter of your first name. So with Ian, what is the last letter of your first name?
Well, that would be N.
Okay, that's N. And according to the chart, because this is how they're going to figure out what your leprechaun name is.
Okay.
N equals Greenie. So that's the first. That's your first name when it comes to your leprechaun.
One. All right.
Okay, and then I will need the first letter of your last name.
That would be a W.
Okay, so the first letter of your last name and the last name for your leprechaun name would be McSpud. So your leprechaun name, Ian Welsh, is Greenie McSpud.
All right, I like that name.
So
proud of my Irish heritage.
So we'll call you Greenie McSpud for the rest of the show.
Just call me Greenie.
Greenie McSpud.
All right, you, Chad?
For me, so the last letter of my first name would be D, and that would be Bunyan.
Oh.
Bunyan. Like Paul Bunyan, not Bunyan on your foot. Okay. Bunyan.
That's better.
Is Paul Bunyan Irish? I don't even know. Think of that. I have to look that up.
Not sure if he is.
But Bunyan is the first part.
Okay.
And then the first letter of my last name, which would be H, and that would be McDoodles. So I am Bunyan McDoodles. I'm not so sure about that. I don't know if I want to be
quizzes like this. There's also ones for different holidays.
Right.
Too. You have to do your elf name or your Halloween name or your pilgrim name for Thanksgiving. Yeah. They have all sorts of these quizzes on Facebook.
All right. Is Paul Bunyan okay? Paul Bunyan is not
people if you didn't know this.
Not Irish. So I don't know where the Bunyan comes from for my first name as a leprechaun.
It must have some Irish historical reference or something.
Well, Paul Bunyan origins linked to French-Canadian lumberjack traditions and French-Canadian. So Some researchers suggest a possible connection between Paul Bunyan tales and the exploits of French-Canadian lumberjack Fabien Saginaw Joe Fournier and the character of Bon Jean. So
interesting. If you didn't know that, people, now you know.
So there you go. So we learn a little Irish about leprechaun names, and we also learn a little bit about Paul Bunyan. Have you ever, over in Minnesota, I think it's the largest Paul Bunyan statue, because I remember going on a vacation one time.
My family and I have driven through Minnesota
Where
a couple
was
of
that?
times. I don't think we've ever actually, I've probably seen pictures of it, but I've never actually seen it in, like, actually going there.
So Ackley, Minnesota, actually. It's if Ackley's Bunyan ever stood upright, he'd be roughly 60 feet tall, making him the largest Paul of all.
Wow.
So, well, getting off on a tangent here, I tell you. This, sometimes you start to go down that rabbit hole, and I went down that rabbit hole the last couple of minutes.
Sometimes on a Monday, you just have to loosen it up a
But
little bit.
again, it is St. Patrick's Day, so if you're getting dressed, put on the green. Put on the green. Like I got the green on, Ian's got the green on, and gonna celebrate.
Probably won't find any shamrocks quite yet.
Not quite yet, but we are 1 hour into this Monday morning edition of the Chad Holmes Show. Got an information update coming up, and then we'll be back with more. Time is 8:58 here on 98.9 WXCO.
All I need is a TV show, that and the radio. Down on my luck again, down on my luck again. I can show you some of the people in my life. I can show you some of the people in my life. It's driving me mad. Just another way of passing the day. I get so
Good morning. It is Monday, March the 17th of 2025, St. Patrick's Day. Time is 9:07. Very pleasant start here in downtown Wausau at our 98.9 WXCO studios at the corner of Washington Street and North 3rd Street. Currently 33 degrees, up 3 degrees in the last hour. Sun is shining. We've actually seen those clouds break up a bit. Looks like it's going to be a very pleasant day. Looks like as though it's going to be, a little bit of a mix of clouds and sun, but temperatures should rise into the lower to middle 50s before all is said and done. But today and tomorrow, pretty similar, with temperatures in the low to mid 50s. Before then, on Tuesday night, the rain will come in first, late Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning, then changing to snow. And it looks as though the snow will change sometime on Wednesday morning, and then look for lots of snow, or well, I guess I shouldn't say lots of snow, significant snow at this point. We don't know for sure if it's going to be a lot of snow yet. It could be just a few inches.
Hopefully it's not a lot.
Right. Hopefully it's not a lot, but looks as though Wednesday during the course of the daytime hours, we'll be expecting some snow, especially in the afternoon. The snow could be heavy at times, and it'll be much chillier on Wednesday with highs only of 37 degrees. In fact, it'll stay pretty chilly into Thursday. The snow will go through. Then we'll get some sunny skies Thursday, but temperature still only in the upper 30s. So, again, it's going to be one of those kind of up and down weeks. Exactly. Roller coaster weeks that we expect in the middle portion to the late portion of March. So, of course, we have great meteorologist Brittney Merlot and the rest of the Civic Media weather team. We'll get better information as we get closer to early Wednesday. And
they're always working very hard to give us the most accurate forecast, and 95% of the time they're usually right.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been so impressed since Civic Media began, and they've brought in their weather team. And I've said this to Brittney, that if you look at it, if you listen, so often she is so very accurate. I mean, she talks about thunderstorms in the last couple of weeks. Then the thunderstorms came. I mean, when we get the information within a close period of time, the information has been incredibly accurate. So as we get closer and closer to Wednesday, I'm sure we'll get narrowed down in terms of the amount of snow we expect. As Brittney said, right now we're kind of on that edge of a winter storm watch that's been put out for part of the state of Wisconsin already. And by the time we talk to Brittney tomorrow morning, I'm sure we'll have a little bit narrower of a idea of how much snow we can expect on Wednesday. But again, that's where the active weather, before and after that, pretty quiet. But then in the middle of the work week on Wednesday, we'll be getting that significant snow, and we'll keep a very close eye on that right here on 98.9 WXCO.
Speaking of a narrow, did you watch the Badgers basketball game yesterday? I didn't watch the first half, but I watched the second half. I was like, holy smokes, they're up by 4. Then I come back a few minutes later. Oh, they're still up by 4. And I come back a few minutes later. It's like, holy smokes, they're tied, and there's only a minute left.
It was a busy weekend for the Badgers. Obviously, the Big Ten tournament, you play back to back to back. I mean, just keep on playing. And it did not appear they were quite as sharp yesterday. They started off all right, as you said.
My
took
dad
the
was
lead.
telling me they missed 5 field goals.
I mean, it was a case where they
In a row, actually.
they just did not play quite as well as they did to get to that point, but it was still a very good tournament. They were able to get all the way to the championship round, and that helped them in terms of the seeding for the NCAA tournament. And the Badgers are heading back to the NCAAs in a pretty good seeding for Wisconsin. They are a number three seed.
Right?
Yep. So they will. There was some hope for Badger fans that they would actually play this weekend in Milwaukee, because Milwaukee is hosting some of the NCAA tournament. But in the end, they have to go to Denver, and that's again makes it a little bit more difficult. They will be playing in Denver coming up during the afternoon Thursday. Take on the Montana Grizzlies. So 3 versus 14. I mean, obviously, I think the Badgers will be the big favorite when it comes to the first round game. But I think the expectation is for Wisconsin to be able to get to the Sweet 16 at the very least, because they'll be the higher seed when it comes to the first 2 games.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring this up really fast. I want to see what the second round potential matchup for Bucky is in Denver on Saturday. So should they win on Friday? I mean, I should say on Thursday. I got one that's so small. I mean, gee whiz. Again, my eyes are. But the Badgers, where are the Badgers? So many teams on this bracket. Everybody's printing out their brackets because now all the pools will be started this week. Wisconsin against Montana. They will play the winner of the game between BYU and VCU. BYU, Brigham Young University, the number 6 seed, and Virginia Commonwealth, the number 11 seed. So those are the potential matchups. So the Badgers get through that. The odds are then at the Sweet 16 level, if it goes chalk means the higher seed wins, then they would probably play Alabama, who is the number 2 seed in that bracket. And, of course, the number 1 seed in that bracket, should the Badgers make it to the Elite 8 and it goes chalk, the Duke Blue Devils. So it's not an easy bracket, to say the least. But Badgers in pretty good shape at a number 3 seed. Marquette also in the NCAA tournament. Marquette Golden Eagles, number 7 seed. They will take on number 10 seeded New Mexico on Friday. And then with a win on Friday, likely on Sunday, Marquette would take on number 2 seed Michigan State from the Big Ten Conference. Regular season champs in the Big Ten. They lost to the Badgers in the Big Ten Conference semifinals on Saturday. And Marquette actually played Michigan State a couple of years ago in the NCAAs. In that case, Marquette, I think, was the number 2 seed, and Michigan State was the number 7 seed. This time around, it would be Michigan State, the number 2 seed, and Marquette, the number 7 seed. So, again, that is coming up this week. And I know people, basically, when you get the Thursday and Friday, especially when one of your teams is playing, they may take half a day or they'll get off to the sports bar for a long lunch, go to Buffalo Wild Wings or somewhere like that where there's TVs around.
Also, I'm going on my lunch break. I'll be back in 2 hours.
Exactly. And then that 2 hours turns into about 3.5 hours. And it's like, oh, I just lost complete track of time. So a lot of folks will be taking long lunch breaks on Thursday when the Badgers are playing. I think it's a 1:30 or so tip off from Denver.
Maybe you can ask your boss and maybe they'll join you.
There you go. Have a working lunch. Have the work, sitting around having your wings. Have you maybe
still do your work.
Do a little bit of work. Peek up at the TVs. Maybe not peek up, but actually stare at the TVs.
As soon as there's a commercial, you do your work and then you get back to the game.
Exactly.
Just take those little breaks, because that's a good way to get your coworkers to have some social interaction outside of work.
As I mentioned earlier as well, high school, Wausau East making it to the state tournament. They will be in action on Friday at roughly 3:30 p.m. Wausau East Lumberjacks taking on Wauwatosa West in a Division II state semifinal. Lumberjacks 20-7 on the season. And again, just a really great run for Wausau East. They were able to earn an overtime win on Thursday in the sectional semifinals, and then they were able to earn the sectional championship round as well on Saturday night and be able to earn their trip to state. One of two Wisconsin Valley Conference teams, in fact, going to the state tournament. Wausau East beat West Salem 82-45. It was a dominant performance for East on Saturday night in Wisconsin Rapids. And then Marshfield beat Kimberly 62-35 in Division One. So that means that the Marshfield Tigers, also like Wausau East, the number 3 seed at state, they will take on Wanakee on Friday night at about 8 o'clock, maybe 8:15 in the second Division One semifinal. Wisconsin Lutheran against Oshkosh North in the first one. And then Division Two, as I said, Wauwatosa West against Wausau East. The winner of that one will move on to the state championship game on Saturday against either number 1 seeded Racine Park or number 4 seeded Cedarburg. The only other team that you could consider somewhat from our area would be Bondwell. Bondwell defeated Auburndale in the sectional final on Saturday. So Bondwell from the Central Wisconsin Conference East, 27-1 on the season, will take on the Prairie School in a Division IV semifinal at 6:35 on Thursday night. And then the winner of that game will take on the winner of Mineral Point and Aquinas in the state championship game. So basically, Central Wisconsin represented in the big school divisions with Marshfield in D1 and Wausau East in Division 2. So good luck to the Wausau East Lumberjacks as they head down to the Kohl Center. So much fun for these kids to play on the big stage at the Kohl Center.
And the Kohl Center is a wonderful place.
Yeah, I did the marathon game from the Kohl Center last year. And just even broadcasting is cool because, get to go to a big arena like that.
Now, my family and I have gone to the Kohl Center for a couple of games quite a few years ago. I think we went for a basketball game. I think we also they do hockey there too, right?
Yep. Badger hockey. Not the state, not high school, but Badger hockey, but men's hockey.
It's such a cool place. And they have great food there as well.
The whole experience.
Are always busy. It's like you walk around.
Yeah.
Like every concession is always packed.
Wonderful venue. And again, thanks to Herb Cole, who made the donation so many years ago that allowed the University of Wisconsin to build that wonderful venue for college and high school sports as well. So,
indeed.
Time is 9:18. Going to talk a little bit about some of the protests going on in Europe, because the United States of America right now, they're not considered what they once were. In fact, not considered what they were a couple of months ago. It's like the United States is now lumped in with Russia as enemies of Europe. I'm going to talk a little bit about that and maybe what can be changed, because I'd rather be known as the allies of Canada and Europe than the ally of Russia. I mean, or El Salvador. I mean, give me a break. So we're going to take a look at that coming up next. Time is 9:19. Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO.
all the birds in the trees, they be singing so happily, oh joyfully, oh playfully, watching me. But then they send me away, teach me how to be sensible, logical, oh responsible, practical. And then they show me a world where I could be so dependable, oh clinical, oh intellectual, cynical. There are times when all the world is still, the questions run too deep for such a simple mind.
Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO. Online at WXCO.FM. Mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO and on the Civic Media app.
See, those are four words we need to hear more of in today's world: a sensible, a logical, responsible, and a practical. You don't see very much of that in recent months.
You certainly don't. And you certainly don't see that from the current president of the United States. And there's so much you can kind of unpack here. And one of the things that kind of was noticeable in the last couple of days is sometimes you don't keep an eye on what's happening across the big ocean over in Europe. And the idea, and again, I just don't understand this, that Donald Trump keeps on rattling the cage of countries that have been allies of this country for many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
And the constant talking about taking over Canada. This is an ally, closest ally. And Trump keeps on acting like that he's going to take them over and make them the 51st state. But I don't want to get into that right now, because what I noticed is there's a number of big protests going on across in Europe concerning what is happening, because with Donald Trump basically pulling back in terms of our close allies in Europe, the NATO allies, it is forcing Europe to start to have difficult discussions when it comes to protecting themselves. Because there used to be collective security until Donald Trump came. And now Donald Trump, it's like, you're all on your own. There obviously is cost for the United States in terms of dollars and cents with collective security when it comes to NATO. But at the same time, can you think about what the cost would be if there is another war in Europe? Another war that threatens to expand to the United States. The whole idea of collective security back post-World War II was to try to avoid another world war. We had a world war in the early part of the 20th century. We had another world war even before the middle portion of the 20th century. So in order to stop that cycle from reoccurring, some very intelligent folks got together and formed the United Nations and formed NATO and formed these collective security pacts. And now Donald Trump seems to think, well, that's all useless. But now they're having discussions over in Europe about being forced to spend more money on security, more money on military. And you know what happens when everybody starts to get into a security arms race? All of a sudden, you have more conflict.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of folks in Europe are saying, hey, we don't want another world war. We don't want more conflict. We don't want the United States to step away from collective security. And again, the idea of the United States being looked upon as being closer to the totalitarian regimes of the world is such a sad occurrence. And I mean, we can be very angry about it, but I think it's very sad that when you take a look at the incredible relationships that our country has had with the United Kingdom, with other countries of Europe since the end of World War II, and to basically throw that into the gutter, if you're Donald Trump, to try to have closer relationships with countries such as Russia, with countries such as Turkey, with countries such as El Salvador, is wrong. And I'm glad to see the people of Europe stepping up and protesting the changes that are occurring. And I think the United States of America. And again, some people say, well, what are the good aspects of protesting? What good does it do? It does good. It raises questions. It raises concerns.
It gives people a voice.
I think
lets them be heard.
Yeah, and I think these Tesla takedowns are showing that people disagree vehemently with what Elon Musk is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't say, hey, if you don't let your voice be heard,
he's just going to keep doing it.
And just generally, again, is it going to ultimately be the change? Maybe not, but it certainly leads to that process down the road. I mean, I saw
it's not
that
an overnight. I think it does take a time, but it does make a difference if you do it.
No,
you
you're
have to keep at it.
You're exactly right.
It's not like in the movies. It's not like it's going to happen in like the span of a short amount of time. A lot of these protests have taken years to get some movement. There's been several different movements over the last through our history actually, and they've started off small, but they gained momentum, and now they're like staples in American history that have changed the way we live our lives.
And that's one reason as well, I think, that people are very upset with people like Chuck Schumer, because we need to push a little bit here. We need to fight back. I mean, just this weekend, again, at what point, how many times does Donald Trump's administration have to ignore court orders and break the law before the Democrats actually say, you're breaking the law? And last summer, the Supreme Court said that Donald Trump cannot be criminally prosecuted for any crimes committed in office. That is up to the governmental branches to actually impeach. But at the very least, stop just letting him do anything he wants by not doing anything in response. And that's one reason people are upset with Chuck Schumer. It's like, at what point are you going to do something? You can't just sit back and let him keep on doing. And that's what we're seeing in Europe. And what we're seeing throughout this country are some of the protests. And in fact, there's going to be something going on Thursday when it comes to Tom Tiffany that I want to kind of mention, because Tiffany and other Republicans are refusing to talk to their constituents. So what do? You bring that up. You protest it. And that's what's going to happen later this week. We're going to talk about that coming up in just a moment here on WXCO.
Hello there, this is James,
Melissa,
Chad,
and Seth, inviting you to come work with us. Civic Media is looking for a full-time sales professional to work with existing and new broadcast and digital media clients.
we're a fast-growing company that offers competitive wages, benefits, a relaxed working environment that focuses on quality of life, and includes a team of support to reach our shared goals.
Join us in continuing what we have done for 80 years. Be a part of the community, put into the community, celebrate community.
Find out more by contacting Chuck Gennaro at 715-935-8030 or email chuck.gennaro@civicmedia.us. All inquiries are confidential. Civic Media Incorporated is an equal opportunity employer, and we look forward to you joining us.
Hey, Wisconsin, it's construction season, and the Wisconsin DOT wants to help you safely navigate work zones. Check 511wi.gov or download the app for road work or closures on your route. Know before you go with 511 Wisconsin. Sponsored by the Wisconsin DOT.
If you want me, you can find me left of center off of the strip. In the outskirts and in the fringes, in the corner, out of the grip. If you want me, you can find me left of center off of the strip. In the outskirts and in the fringes, in the corner, out of the grip. When they ask me, what are you looking at? I always answer, nothing much, not much. I think they know that I'm looking at them. I think they think I must be out of touch, but I'm only in the outskirts and in the fringes, on the edge and off the avenue. And if you want me, you can find me left of center, wondering about you.
And welcome back, Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. Time is 9:36 here on this St. Patrick's Day morning. Nice start. Again, it's great to look out the window and see the sun shining on a Monday morning, see some of the blue skies, some fluffy clouds out there. I mean, mostly cloudy, but that sun stays out there. So not a bad way to start off the new work week. Temperature right now is 33 degrees here in downtown Wausau. Coming up here in just a moment, I am going to call out Tom Tiffany for dodging his constituents. And in fact, the Marathon County Democratic Party is going to have an event on Thursday to kind of highlight that. But one thing that I'm not going to do is just make it a one-way street. When a Democrat dodges constituents, we got to mention that as well. And in fact, over the last few minutes, we just got word that Chuck Schumer is going to start dodging as well. And of course, Chuck Schumer, Democratic leader of the United States Senate, Democrat from New York, was supposed to today start a book tour. Yeah, he's not fighting for the American people right now in terms of trying to put some sort of guardrails on Donald Trump and Elon Musk, but he's got time to head out, write a book, and now tour and make a lot of money. Not only is this book tour, they're charging people to come and hear Chuck Schumer. It's not an open event. But Chuck Schumer has decided to cancel this week's events when it comes to the book tour. Chuck Schumer was supposed to start his book tour around the East Coast this week, and then that's supposed to branch out other parts of the country as well. According to a statement from Chuck Schumer's office, due to security concerns, Schumer's book events are being rescheduled. No, again, I shouldn't say that. In my opinion, I will say, in my opinion, Schumer is canceling his book events this week because the backlash from Democrats of him trying to manipulate the Democrats into allowing that CR that gives Trump and Musk everything they wanted. It was Chuck Schumer's leadership there that got that passed. And a lot of Democrats, a lot of people Democrats and maybe independents as well, including myself, not happy with Chuck Schumer. And part of the reason as well, not only the end result, is the way that he tried to manipulate things to make it look like he was against it and still get it passed. And then that failed. He just came out and said, well, I'm going to lead the charge to get it passed. Because, again, I want to mention last week, Chuck Schumer was trying to make a deal where Democratic amendments would be voted on in exchange for a clean vote to allow the CR to get passed. And basically that whole plan was Chuck Schumer smart enough to know that none of the Democratic amendments were going to get passed because the Republicans have a majority in the United States Senate. The whole idea was for him and other Democrats who would vote for the CR to have cover, to be able to say, well, and then vote against it in the end. Have it be a party line vote where the Republicans got it through. The end result would still be a horrible CR where the Democrats got nothing out of it. But Schumer's plan was blown up. So in the end, he was forced to come out from his pretend position of standing against it and say, well, I have to vote for it. I don't want a government shutdown. The only time right now, early on in the Trump presidency, where the Democrats had a little bit of leverage. But the point being is now Chuck Schumer doesn't want to face some of these Democrats, doesn't want to have to answer questions from some of these Democrats to say, why? Why did you not use your leverage here to get a better deal if you're going to get ultimately a continuing resolution passed to keep the government open? But instead of doing that, instead of being courageous in this matter to say, hey, I'm going to talk to these people and answer their questions. No, this week he's going to cancel his events because of security concerns. Give me a break. This is not about security concerns. It's about avoiding these questions, bottom line.
This is not a good look for the Democratic Party.
No, the leader in the United States Senate, and that's one reason why Democrats are not performing very well in the polls right now, even with Donald Trump destroying so many pillars of American democracy. Along the same line, wanted to mention that coming up on Thursday at 12 noon, in front of Congressman Tom Tiffany's Wausau office at 2620 Stewart Avenue, there is going to be a little get-together. And it's titled, Where is Representative Tom Tiffany? An event by Ashland to Wausau Indivisible. And according to a posting put up on the Facebook page of the Marathon County Democratic Party, last seen ducking in and out and avoiding his constituents. And here's a good point. And again, he's willing to be seen with hateful people. But it says, ducking in and out and avoiding his constituents. Yet, he is invited as the special guest to an anti-trans event featuring Riley Gaines at the Hilton Garden Inn, Rib Mountain, coming up tomorrow, Tuesday at noon, by Moms for Liberty. And he can back that wholeheartedly. Where he is not standing up for veterans, farmers, or seniors. And then in parentheses, who needs them when you have billionaire donors? Probably somewhere helping Trump and Musk dismantle the government, one tax cut for the rich at a time. Warning, if found, he may attempt to distract you with empty rhetoric while slashing the VA, Medicare, gutting Social Security, and ignoring working families. Come and show Congressman Tom Tiffany we will not be ignored. That is Thursday, March 20th, again at 12 noon on the sidewalk in front of Congressman Tom Tiffany's Wausau office, 2620 Stewart Avenue. Bring your signs or come as you are. We will have a couple of speakers according to the posting. Please be peaceful and courteous. Again, good to put that out there as well. Do not block driveways and obey all laws. Again, this is about somebody who is the representative of the people of the 7th Congressional District, dodging them, but showing up at a hate rally tomorrow. And again, the same thing with Schumer. This is not just Republicans. And obviously, though, the Republicans are basically saying to each other, don't have public events right now because people are mad at you because of what Trump and Musk are doing, and they'll expect you to answer a few questions on why you're doing nothing to stop it. So, again, they're dodging it. But at the same time, Chuck Schumer is allowing Musk and Trump to be able to do what they want to do by his actions last week. And instead of being courageous, being a profile and courage, showing up and explaining why, he cancels all of his events this week on his book tour. And the thing about it is, we have seen many times in the past with folks that, hey, we may disagree with a decision they've made, but that when they've had the courage to come and answer angry constituents and explain in maybe ways we aren't thinking why they did it, we can at least respect to a certain level the decision that is made.
That's right.
You know, we're not going to agree on everything. But I think this is fairly important, what Schumer did last week. But at the same time, if he was to have the courage to speak to people who disagree vehemently with what he said and did last week, then you can have at least a little bit of respect for what he's doing. But if you're going to dodge those hard questions, if you're not going to come out and speak to the people, and he is the Democratic leader of the United States Senate, it's his responsibility to talk to the folks that have put blood and sweat and tears into the Democratic cause. And for him to basically give the back of the hand is wrong. It's wrong on every level. So Tom Tiffany is wrong by dodging his constituents, and Chuck Schumer is wrong by dodging his constituents as well. And again, it's just part of the system, part of our democratic system. These people are not above the people they serve. They are of the people they serve. They are serving the people. And again, we vote them in, and it's not about always voting exactly how we think. No. We vote them in to use their best judgment, to use the knowledge they have, the information that they get. There's going to be times we disagree, but to dodge the people and their questions and their comments is not the way to go. So again, I would encourage people, if you have an opportunity around lunchtime on Thursday, to be part of this event, to just show Tom Tiffany, people would like to hear from him. Yeah. Have him come and do a public event where he answers questions on what he is or is not doing when it comes to the dismantling of our American system by Elon Musk and Donald Trump. So that, again, is at 12 noon on Thursday on the sidewalk in front of Congressman Tom Tiffany's Wausau office, 2620 Stewart Avenue. So, and again, it's not to be breaking any laws. It's to show Representative Tiffany that there's some folks that have some questions for him.
What's the fact that Tom Tiffany wants to show up at a rally by a group called Moms for Liberty? That sounds like a third-party group.
Well, Moms for Liberty is somebody that's been around for a little while and getting involved in a lot of different local and state races, and but a very right-wing organization. And that shows, again, that Tom Tiffany's willing to listen to the people that are giving him money and off on that end, but not talking to the general public of the 7th Congressional District. So, again, Tom will be in the area tomorrow, but not holding any open Q&A sessions with the people here in central Wisconsin. The time is 9:48. Coming up, we'll have our daily history lesson. We'll talk about some of the famous events that have occurred on the 17th day of March, St. Patrick's Day. We'll talk about some people that are celebrating their birthdays here on March the 17th. Some special events in addition to St. Patrick's Day being acknowledged here today. And then we will have our number for the day quiz as we try to get off to a winning start with Ian Welsh with that coming up as well.
That's right.
The time is 9:48. Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO.
A generation and watching what I eat. They tell me that it's good for me, but I don't even care.
And welcome back, Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO. Online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices, and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. It is Monday, March the 17th of 2025, day number 76 of this year. There are 289 days remaining in 2025. And a number of famous events have occurred on this date in history. On this date in 1845, the rubber band was patented. On this date in 1931, Nevada legalized gambling. On this date in 1991, in its first dress code change since the 1960s, Brigham Young University announced that students could wear knee-length shorts and go sockless. On this date in 2008, New York Governor Elliot Spitzer resigned after a scandal involving a high-end prostitute. David Patterson became acting New York State governor. On this date in 2020, the Golden Raspberry Film Awards, the Razzies, gave 6 trophies to the musical Cats, including Worst Film. And on this date in 2023, Selena Gomez became the first woman on Instagram to surpass 400 million followers. A few famous folks are celebrating birthdays today. Actor Patrick Duffy of Dallas fame is 76 years old today. Actor Kurt Russell's done many, many movies, 74 years old today. Actor Gary Sinise played Captain Dan in Forrest Gump.
Oh, yes.
Also CSI shows and many other things. Gary Sinise turning 70 years old today. Actor Vicki Lewis was one of the cast members of News Radio, 65 years old today. Actor Rob Lowe is 61. Soccer legend Mia Hamm turning 53 years old today. Actor Brittany Daniel of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is 49. And one of the greatest Olympic performers of all time, swimmer Katie Ledecky, turns 28 years old today. And if you're out there celebrating your birthday, happy birthday to you from all of us at 98.9 WXCO.
Happy birthday.
Some special events today. It is St. Patrick's Day. It is Campfire Girls Day. It's Corned Beef and Cabbage Day. And it is Submarine Day. So those are the special events being acknowledged here on the 17th day of March.
Nice.
Time now for our number for the day quiz.
Yep.
And every weekday at the end of the show, we give Ian Welsh 3 choices, 2 of which are right, 1 is wrong. I should say 2 is right. 2 of which are wrong, and 1 is right.
But 2 correct answers.
That would be make it easy.
That would be a first.
That would be. But 2 wrong and 1 right, so that's basically a 1 in 3 chance.
Yep.
33%. So basically what we do is if Ian is above 33% for the week, that means it's a passing grade. If he's below 33% for the week, that's a failing grade. But we want more than that. We want a winning week, which is more right than wrong.
Yes.
His all-time best week is 4 out of 5, and we're still looking for that perfect week, a 5 for 5 week. All right.
I hope the luck of the Irish is on my side today.
Let's hope it is. The first St. Patrick's Day celebration in North America took place in Boston on March the 17th of what year? It was the first St. Patrick's Day celebration was a gesture of solidarity among the city's new Irish immigrants. And the first time ever there was a St. Patrick's Day celebration. What year was that?
All right.
All right.
My choices.
The choices are 1737, 1837, 1937.
So the first St. Patrick's Day celebration took place in Boston in what year?
March the 17th of what year?
1737, 1837, or 1937? Okay, I'll go with my gut here. I'm gonna say 1837. I'm going with A B as my final answer. 1837 is my final answer.
All righty. The first St. Patrick's Day celebration in North America took place in Boston on March the 17th of 1737.
Oh,
yeah, so very early, well before the American Revolution even. So
indeed.
So very, very early, long time ago. That's almost 300 years ago. 288 years ago, to be exact. So
it's a long time.
All right, well, try to get back on the winning track tomorrow. No problem.
Yeah,
Still
absolutely.
very early in the week. All right, well, have a good rest of your St. Patty's Day.
You too, Chad. Happy Monday, everybody. Happy St. Patrick's Day, and the luck of the Irish will be with you.
Coming up next, it will be Matt and Air on Air. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 8 till 10 a.m., right here on 98.9 WXCO.